What if I told you that poverty isn't a lack of money, but a lack of strategy? What if the daily war you fight against scarcity, that constant pressure in your chest when you look at your bank account, has nothing to do with the economy, your boss, or your background? What if the architect of your financial struggle is you, operating from a flawed mental blueprint you've mistaken for reality? Society has sold you a convenient lie, the myth of overnight success. The fairy tale that wealth is either inherited or stumbled upon by a lucky few. That you're either born with it or destined to live without it. This is the great tranquilizer, the narrative that keeps the masses playing a game they're designed to lose, forever hoping for a lottery ticket to save them. But here is the brutal, liberating truth. Poverty is not a state of your wallet, it is the outcome of a failed strategy. It is a series of critical errors in judgment, repeated daily with unwavering consistency. What the titans of industry, the silent builders of empires, understand is that wealth isn't hunted, it's engineered. It becomes the inevitable byproduct of the person you become when you stop making excuses and start executing a winning game plan. According to the extensive research of Brian Tracy, who has spent decades decoding the psychology of achievement, the gap between the life you have and the life you want is a strategy gap. Success is not an accident. Failure is not an accident. They are both predictable outcomes based on the unwavering application of specific principles and habits. In this strategic briefing, we will not offer you platitudes. We will identify and dismantle the 7 mental firewalls that are blocking your path to building your personal empire. And for each firewall, we will give you the code to bypass it, a clear, actionable strategy to shatter your limitations and forge a new identity of power, discipline, and relentless forward momentum. Prepare yourself. This isn't a motivational speech. This is a boardroom meeting for the future of your life. The first habit, the foundational flaw in nearly every failed enterprise and life of regret, is the tyranny of procrastination. The silent killer of market opportunities and personal momentum. Do not mistake this for simple laziness. Procrastination is an active business decision to bankrupt your future. It's the choice to delay the mission-critical actions that could compound into massive success. It is looking at your highest value tasks and assigning them to a mythical employee named tomorrow.
The pain of this habit manifests as chronic underperformance.
It's the critical project you rush at the last minute, delivering a C-grade effort when an A-grade result was within your grasp. It's the skill you know you need to learn, but the online course remains perpetually at 0% completion. It's the difficult conversation with a client or partner that you avoid, allowing a small issue to fester into a catastrophic failure. Each delay is a missed opportunity, a loss of market share in the business of your own life. You operate under a constant, low-grade anxiety, the hum of unfulfilled potential and broken promises to yourself, your primary stakeholder. The root cause of this flawed strategy is fear, disguised as logic. Often, it's the fear of failure. The ego devises a brilliant defense. You can't truly fail at something you didn't seriously attempt. Procrastination becomes a shield, protecting your ego at the expense of your results. Other times, it's perfectionism, the absurd idea that you must have the perfect plan before taking the first step. This is paralysis by analysis, a highbrow excuse for cowardice. In a competitive market, speed of implementation beats perfection every single time. The long-term consequences are devastating. Procrastination is the liquidation of your dreams. Your competitors, often less talented but more decisive, seize the opportunities you hesitated on.
Your brilliant ideas in your mind, never seeing the light of day.
You look back on years of wasted time, and the chasm between your reality and your potential is filled with the ghosts of delayed actions. Financially, it's a slow bleed disaster of late fees, missed investment cycles, and a failure to negotiate from a position of strength. The solution is a core principle of high-output management, a strategy Brian Tracy champions: eat that frog. Your frog is your most important, highest-impact task, the one you are most likely to procrastinate on. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to execute on that one task first thing every single morning, without deviation. Attack your most challenging objective when your energy is highest. The psychological win you gain from this single act creates a cascade of momentum that powers you through the rest of an unstoppable day. The transformation here is not about time management. It's about a shift in your operational identity. You cease to be the thinker, the planner, the strategist, and you become the executor. Each frog you eat is hard evidence that you are a person of action, a leader who can be counted on. Self-respect is not built on affirmations. It's forged in the fires of executed decisions. By killing procrastination, you don't just clear a path to wealth, you build the character of a winner. The second habit that guarantees a life of mediocrity is operating without a business plan. It's the act of running the corporation of you without a mission statement, without quarterly goals, and without a clear vision for the future. This is the default operating system for the majority. They are busy. They answer emails, attend meetings, and react to the demands of the day. But activity is not achievement. Motion is not direction. To live without clear, written goals is to allow your competitors, the market, and random chance to dictate the trajectory of your life. It's being a low-level employee in your own story instead of the CEO. The pain of this rudderless existence is a deep, gnawing sense of frustration. You feel like you're spinning your wheels, working harder and harder, but your market position never improves. The years blur together, and you're still facing the same challenges, the same income ceiling, the same limitations. You live in reactive mode, constantly putting out fires instead of building fireproof systems. It's like a captain trying to cross the ocean by simply sailing, hoping the wind will magically blow him to a treasured island. He's far more likely to end up shipwrecked and lost. The root of this strategic failure is fear. Fear of commitment. Fear of choosing the wrong goal and wasting time. To the amateur mind, it feels safer to keep options open. But as any great leader knows, a strategy is not just about what you do, it's about what you don't do. Another root is a limiting self-concept. A belief that you aren't the kind of person who achieves massive goals.
A seven-figure net worth.
Who am I to aim for that? This self-deprecating mindset is a built-in suppressor of ambition, keeping you safely caged in the familiar. The consequences of having no clear targets are the squandering of your most finite asset, time. Your focus becomes scattered across a dozen low-value projects, never gaining the critical mass of energy needed to break through in any single one. Financially, it means you have no income target. You earn whatever someone is willing to pay you, instead of defining your financial destiny and reverse engineering a plan to achieve it. You are a startup without a funding goal, drifting toward inevitable insolvency. The solution, as taught by Brian Tracy, is a revolutionary act of executive decision-making. Take out a clean sheet of paper, right now. Write down 10 goals you want to achieve in the next 12 months. Write them in the present tense, as if they are already accomplished facts. I earn X $100,000 per year. I am in peak physical condition at Y% body fat.
I am the leader in my field.
Now, review your list and ask the ultimate strategic question. If I could only achieve one of these goals, which one would have the greatest positive impact on my life and career? Circle that goal. That is now your major definite purpose.
Your North Star. The transformation is electric.
The moment you define your primary objective, you engage a powerful targeting system in your brain. Your mind starts to actively filter your reality, highlighting opportunities and resources that were always there but were invisible in the fog of uncertainty. Your decision-making becomes ruthlessly efficient. Before committing to anything, you ask, does this move me closer to my North Star? You start saying no to distractions and yes only to actions that align with your mission. You stop being a ship adrift and become a guided missile, streaking toward your target with unstoppable purpose. The third habit, the most insidious internal poison, is the prison of the victim mentality. It's the complete and total abdication of your role as CEO of your life. The person with a victim mentality is an expert in external auditing. Nothing is ever their fault. If their business fails, it was the market. If they get passed over for a promotion, it was office politics. If they're broke, it's the system. The blame is always outsourced. This mindset is a spiritual cancer because it turns the individual into a helpless spectator of their own decline, complaining about the rules of the game from the sidelines instead of getting on the field and figuring out how to win. The pain of this mentality is a life of bitterness, resentment, and suffocating powerlessness. The victim thrives on sympathy. They find a perverse comfort in recounting their tales of woe, seeking validation for their powerlessness. They surround themselves with other victims, forming a board of directors for their own misery, reinforcing the belief that the world is rigged against them. The immense energy that could be channeled into creating solutions is entirely wasted on the low-grade, toxic activity of complaining. The psychological root of this disease is ego preservation. To take full ownership of your failures is intensely painful. To say, the strategy was wrong, I made a bad hire, I need to upgrade my skills, requires immense strength and humility. It is infinitely easier for the ego to point fingers. Blame transfers responsibility, and with it, the pain of inadequacy. The victim trades their power for the short-term comfort of feeling blameless. It's a deal with the devil. Give up your future in exchange for never having to face your own shortcomings. The consequences are fatal to any ambition. If you believe external forces control your outcomes, you will never take the internal actions required to change them. Why develop a new skill set if the game is rigged? Why save and invest if the rich just get richer? The victim mindset is the ultimate excuse for inaction. It guarantees you remain stuck, because in your worldview, the key to your cell is in someone else's pocket. The solution is the single most powerful principle that, according to Brian Tracy's work, separates the high achievers from the rest, taking 100% responsibility. Extreme ownership. This doesn't mean you are at fault for everything that happens to you. It means you are 100% responsible for your response to everything that happens.
You are the CEO.
The market may shift, a pandemic may hit, but you are responsible for the strategic pivot. You are responsible for your mindset, your actions, and the results you produce. Your mantra must become, if it's to be, it's up to me. The transformation is the most profound of all. The instant you drop the blame and assume total responsibility, you go from being a pawn in the game to being a player. The question shifts from, who did this to me, to, what's my next move? You stop waiting for a bailout and realize that the cavalry you've been waiting for is you. You become the cause, not the effect. Your life ceases to be a series of random events and becomes a series of strategic choices.
This is the definition of true freedom.
It's the foundational move from a poverty mindset to a power mindset. If you have made it this far, it is not by accident. It is by decision. A part of you, the CEO within, has decided that the status quo is no longer acceptable. This is not just content. This is a call to arms for your own life. Make your commitment tangible. Subscribe to this channel as a public declaration that you are taking command. And to seal this new contract with yourself, go to the comments and type the 3 words that will define your new reality. Comment: I am the CEO. Now, for the 4th habit that chains people to financial servitude, financial illiteracy. It's the act of playing the game of capitalism without bothering to learn the rules. Imagine trying to play chess without understanding the power of the queen or the concept of checkmate. You would be slaughtered. This is how the financially illiterate person moves through the world. They exist within a complex economic system but are ignorant of the basic principles of assets, liabilities, cash flow, debt, and the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest. They are masters at working for money, but total amateurs at making money work for them. The pain of this habit is a life of quiet desperation and financial anxiety. It's the feeling of always being one unexpected car repair away from disaster. It's living paycheck to paycheck, a modern form of slavery where your time is perpetually sold to cover last month's expenses. It's the dread of looking at your credit card statement, the shame of not understanding your investment options, the feeling that you're on the outside of a club where everyone else knows the secret handshake. The root of this ignorance is systemic. The traditional education system prepares you to be a good employee, not a savvy investor. It teaches you how to earn a paycheck, not how to leverage it. Furthermore, we inherit toxic poverty files from our environment. Beliefs like money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy, or it's better to be happy than rich, as if they were mutually exclusive, create a deep internal conflict. You want financial security, but your subconscious programming tells you that money is tainted. So you sabotage yourself, getting rid of money as quickly as it comes in to relieve the psychological dissonance. The consequences are brutal and predictable. You become a slave to consumer debt. You acquire liabilities, like new cars and expensive gadgets, believing they are assets. You are ensnared by high-interest loans that steal decades of your future wealth. You miss out on the single greatest wealth-building tool available to humanity, compounding. Your ignorance condemns you to a lifetime on the hamster wheel, running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. The solution is a non-negotiable commitment to your own financial education.
As Brian Tracy states, your earning ability is your most valuable financial asset. Invest in it. Declare war on your own ignorance.
Commit to reading one major book on personal finance or investing every single month. Become a student of wealth. Start with the most powerful tactical shift you can make. Pay yourself first. Before you pay your rent, your car note, or your credit card bill, you allocate a percentage of your income, start with 10%, to your Freedom Fund, an account dedicated solely to investing. This single act rewires your brain from a consumer to a capitalist. The transformation is one of empowerment. As you learn the language of money, the financial world shifts from being a source of fear to a field of opportunity. You begin to see the matrix. You understand the difference between good debt and bad debt.
You learn to analyze investments.
Anxiety is replaced by strategy. Fear is replaced by confidence. You stop being a slave to money and become its master. Brick by brick, you begin to build the fortress of your financial independence. The fifth habit that keeps you poor, especially in the hyper-connected, social media-driven world, is the addiction to external validation. It's the disastrous business strategy of designing your life by committee. This habit manifests as keeping up with the Joneses, a game you can't win. It's buying the luxury car with a crippling monthly payment to impress people you don't even like. It's pursuing a career that your parents approve of, but that crushes your soul one day at a time. It's curating a fake life on social media, chasing likes from strangers while your real life is hollow and unfulfilling. It is the act of silencing your own authentic voice to fit in, terrified of being judged or ostracized. The pain of this existence is a profound sense of inauthenticity.
When you live for the applause of the crowd, you are never the star of your own show.
You are an actor playing a part, and the constant fear is of being exposed as a fraud. This need for approval makes you incredibly fragile. A negative comment can derail your entire day. A lack of engagement on a post can make you question your self-worth. You have outsourced your emotional stability to the mob. The root of this behavior is a weak internal frame and a lack of self-esteem. If you don't know who you are and what you stand for, you will desperately seek that definition from the outside world. You use others as a mirror, trying to piece together a sense of value. It's a bottomless pit, because external validation is like a drug. The more you get, the more you need. It never provides a lasting sense of worth because the emptiness is internal. The financial consequences are catastrophic. The desire to signal status is one of the fastest ways to personal bankruptcy. You spend money you don't have on liabilities you don't need to create an impression that isn't true. You chain yourself to debt to fund a lifestyle that is not your own. This pressure prevents you from making the rational, often unglamorous, decisions required to build real wealth, living below your means, saving aggressively, and investing for the long term.
You trade future freedom for present applause.
The solution is the internal work of forging an unbreakable core of self-worth.
As Brian Tracy teaches, your self-concept is your destiny.
You must practice deliberate self-validation. Start by defining your core values.
What truly matters to you?
Freedom, integrity, mastery, growth. Write them down. Then, make a conscious decision to run every choice you make through the filter of these values, regardless of popular opinion. Mute the external noise so you can hear the signal of your own inner compass. The transformation is the birth of true freedom and authenticity. When your self-worth is generated internally, based on your character and your adherence to your own code, you become immune to the opinions of the masses. You stop asking for permission to be powerful. You start making decisions that serve your long-term vision, not your short-term ego. Financially, you begin to wield money as a tool to architect a life of meaning, not to buy temporary admiration. You find a sense of peace and rock-solid confidence that no amount of likes can ever provide. The sixth habit, the shadow that smothers greatness in its crib, is the paralyzing fear of failure. It's the strategic decision to play not to lose, instead of playing to win. This fear is not the same as prudent risk management. It is a phobia that dictates your actions, or more often, your inactions. It's the reason you don't launch the business. It's why you don't ask for the raise. It's why you don't make the sales call. It's the insidious voice in your head that whispers, "What if it doesn't work out?
What if you embarrass yourself? Better the devil you know."
It's a life philosophy that chooses the guaranteed safety of the harbor over the vast, uncertain ocean of opportunity. The pain of this habit is the heaviest of all: regret. It's a quiet, corrosive acid that eats away at your soul over time. It's the pain of watching others, often less gifted but more courageous, achieve the very things you only dreamed of. It is a life haunted by the ghosts of what if. The sting of a real failure is sharp but temporary. The dull ache of regret is a chronic condition that lasts a lifetime. The root of this fear is a deep, flawed programming. In school, we are taught that mistakes are bad. The red F on a paper is a mark of shame. We are conditioned to fuse the outcome of our efforts with our identity. If my project fails, I am a failure.
If my company goes under, I am a loser.
This toxic link is the source of the paralysis. We are so terrified that a negative result will confirm our deepest fear, that we are not good enough, that we choose to produce no results at all. The consequences are absolute stagnation. Wealth creation, by its very nature, requires risk. Every successful person is a veteran of numerous failures. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a critical component of it. By avoiding failure, you are, by definition, avoiding success. You stay in your comfort zone, a territory that shrinks over time, until you are trapped in a life that is safe, predictable, and profoundly unfulfilling. The solution is a complete mental reframing of your relationship with failure. As Brian Tracy insists, you must stop seeing failure as an indictment and start seeing it as data. Failure is not personal. Failure is not final. Failure is simply feedback. It is the market telling you, not this way. Try another approach.
You must adopt a fail-forward mindset.
Every mistake is a tuition payment for your education in success. Start taking small, calculated risks.
The muscle of courage grows only through resistance.
Courage is not the absence of fear, it is taking action in the presence of fear. The transformation is the development of resilience, the bedrock trait of all champions. You become anti-fragile. Setbacks don't just not break you, they make you stronger. You learn to pivot, to adapt, to extract the lesson, and get back in the game, smarter and more capable than before. You understand that the only true failure is the failure to try. By embracing failure as your greatest teacher, you unlock your ability to innovate, to grow, and ultimately, to achieve a level of success your former fearful self could never have imagined. Finally, the seventh habit that completes the architecture of poverty: the cult of inconsistency. Being a master of the grand opening and a novice of the follow-through.
This is the habit of the serial starter.
The person who is always launching a new diet, a new workout routine, a new business venture. The initial burst of enthusiasm is blinding. They buy the gear, they announce their intentions, they are high on the drug of potential. But as soon as the novelty wears off and the reality of the daily, unglamorous grind sets in, their interest wanes. The project is abandoned for the next shiny object. The pain of inconsistency is a fractured self-image and a life of unrealized potential. You look back at your life and see a graveyard of half-finished projects. Each abandoned goal is a broken promise to yourself, and every broken promise erodes your self-trust. You begin to believe your own negative press: I'm just not the kind of person who finishes things. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Others notice it too, and you earn a reputation for being all talk and no action. The root of this behavior is often an addiction to the dopamine hit of novelty. Starting something new is exciting. But the real work, the consistent daily effort, doesn't provide that same immediate chemical reward. The inconsistent person lacks a powerful why, a mission so compelling that it pulls them through the inevitable boredom and difficulty. They are driven by motivation, which is fleeting, rather than discipline, which is a system. The consequences are the forfeiture of the most powerful force in the universe, the compounding effect. In finance, in health, in knowledge, massive results do not come from occasional, intense efforts. They come from small, seemingly insignificant actions repeated with relentless consistency over time. Inconsistency robs you of this magic. You are always starting from scratch, never allowing your efforts to build on each other and create exponential momentum. You are living a linear life in an exponential world, which guarantees you will be left behind. The solution is to fall in love with the process and embrace the power of the non-zero day. The rule is simple: You will not allow a day to end with a 0. No matter how tired, unmotivated, or overwhelmed you are, you do something. Just one small thing toward your major goal.
Don't feel like working out? Do one push-up. Don't feel like working on your business?
Send one email. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to never break the chain. This simple system builds the habit of discipline and makes momentum your new default state. The ultimate transformation is that you forge the identity of a finisher. You become the person who does what they say they will do, especially when the promise is to yourself. This consistency builds a level of self-confidence that is unshakable. You realize, at a core level, that success is not a matter of luck or genius, but of sheer, dogged persistence. By simply showing up every single day, you make your success not just possible, but inevitable. These 7 habits are not just minor flaws. They are the 7 pillars of a prison of your own making. They are the flawed strategic doctrines that guarantee defeat. But that ends today.
You have dragged these enemies into the light.
You have named them. And you now have a counter-strategy for each. The opposite of these habits is not merely wealth. It is control. It is power. It is freedom. It is building a character that is so strong, so disciplined, and so resilient that success is simply what it does. Poverty is a strategy. Wealth is a strategy. Excuses are a choice. Ownership is a choice. Fear is a prison. Courage is the key. Your history is not your destiny. Your decisions are. You are not an employee of your circumstances. You are the founder of your future. Lead the charge. Build your empire.
Execute the vision.
The time to launch is now.